chapter agriculture in India, which we are continuing since previous 2 weeks, and in the previous session of online classes we stopped up to the agricultural products depends on the natural factors, and we were completed that passage. And now today we are going to continue the class with the title of the first phase 1950s to 1965, increasing irrigation and building dams. The government of India after the independent, when India got independence, so after that the first priority was given in the first phase of the agriculture is the increasing irrigation and building dams. Increasing irrigation and building dams, the priority was given by the independent government, independent India, like at that time Jawaharlal Nehru, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. These are the leaders who were to reconstruct, to rebuild the India. They were given priority to increasing irrigation and construction of the new dams, where the crop sharers, where the field workers, where the agriculture laborers, where the landlords, land laborers will get several facilities by facilitating these things like dams preparation, tanks preparation, and increasing canals. So these are the sources to increase the irrigation facilities to the farmers. Between 1950 and 1965, the Indian government invested heavily on irrigation and power projects. It was hoped that this would raise crop and production and slow the problems of the food storage. Big dams for the irrigation and electricity generation like the Bhakra Nangal, Himachal Pradesh. See, at the time of the first phase of the agriculture, like priority is given irrigation and building dams. Meanwhile, there were the electric production plants are constructed. Like one is Bhakra Nangal, which is located in the state of Himachal Pradesh. Remind that, which might be asked in the choose the correct answers. Bhakra Nangal is located in the which state of India? Himachal Pradesh. Damodar Valley, in the Damodar Valley, Western Bengal. Hirakud, located in the Odisha. Nagarjuna Sagar, located in the Telangana and Andhra Pradesh combined states. Gandhi Sagar, located in the Madhya Pradesh, were constructed in the first phase time only, which means in between of 1950 to 65, these are the electric power projects are constructed. The area under cultivation and the irrigated area both went up and crop production increased. During this phase, government promoted the formation of farmer cooperative and also appointed the agriculture extension officers to provide the technical support to farmers. A variety of the initiatives, especially for small farmers, were taken at the mandal or block level to the community development programs. Despite these developments, food shortage continued during the 1962 to 65, which means the population of India is more, but the agriculture production is very less. So which was not meeting the needs of the people, where the people's need, in the what amount of people need the food facilities, that food items are not available at that time. So meanwhile, the government of India was given priority to increase the agriculture products like rice, paddy, jowar, millets. These all the things were in production increased, then it became under the sufficient manner. But we had to face a lot of problem during the years of 1962 to 65. India faced 2 wars and the government spent a lot of money on the war, and there were very little rain in and this year 1965 and 1966 were declared as the drought years. This led to the decline in the production of the food grains and forced the government to the import food grains. See, meanwhile, in the span of the 1965, we had seen the two wars. First World War and Second World War. First World War 1914 to 18, which you studied in the 8th class also. First war we had seen at 1939 to 1945, Second World War, and it was damaged, massive, large economical damage and financial phase was drastically impacted on the people. And these are the things we can notice here, which was also impacted in 1965 to 66. The India has to see the drought prone. None of the farmer can produce anything. There was a very little bit rainfall was felt during the years. So the public was asked the government to provide the grains to eat. There is no food facilities also available at that time. So it was became very difficult. So if suppose the farmers produce more crops, when the farmers will get the sufficient and high yield of the variety, when they will get it, then only the food comes in the sufficient manner to the people. Otherwise it is very difficult to others also, as we know that. But in that year it was not available and not supported by the government also. This situation of the depending on other countries for food requirement worried in Indian leaders. So the Indian government began to change the policy towards the agriculture, and this phase was called the Green Revolution. So first phase was called here Green Revolution, increasing Green Revolution, increasing share crops, increasing high yield of varieties. Under that conflict only the first phase was completed. Now here comes second phase, 1966 to 1990s. Second phase was started in the 1966 and ended in 1990s. So what priority was given in the second phase? Green Revolution and its spread. What is the theme of first phase? The theme of first phase is increasing irrigation and building dams. And second phase started in the 1966 and ended in the 1990s. Green Revolution and its spread. The government introduced a new kind of seeds to the Indian soil, which were invented in the various agricultural research institutions in India as well as other countries. This marked the second phase of the agriculture development. What marked the second phase of agriculture development? The government of India introduced new seeds to the Indian soils, which was on which seeds analysis did by the several institutions, and that was caused here on the several agriculture, and which is aimed as the Green Revolution. These new seeds are known as the high yielding varieties. It was also accompanied by the use of the chemical fertilizers, machinery such as the tractors and others. Besides irrigation facilities, a variety of the cooperative banks were set up in the rural areas to provide the credit to farmers so that they could buy raw materials such as seeds, fertilizers and pesticides and machinery required for modern farming. So these all the things are invented in the second phase, and which was became in the mediator manner, which means not so difficult, but in a coverage manner it was came. Dryland agriculture, a little over 40% of the total cultivable land in India is irrigated. What percentage of the India's land is cultivated? 45%, but here given 40%. The total cultivable land in India is irrigated. This percentage can only go up a maximum up to 55. The remaining 45 cannot be easily irrigated. 55% of India's land is irrigated, 45% is unirrigated. It would be very difficult and expensive Thus, these areas must depend solely on the rainfall, and these are the dry land in our country. So, which means 45% of the agriculture land in our country is depends only on the rainfall only. If suppose there is no rainfall in the sufficient manner, in that year, that 45% land holders will not produce the any agriculture crops. Some of the main crops grown in these areas are jowar, bajra, groundnut, ragi, cotton, soyabean, red gram and Bengal gram. Dryland areas are most suitable for the certain crops. For example, 84% of the pulses grown in the entire country are from these areas. However, the production of pulses is not increasing and they are becoming more and more expensive. What should then be done in the increased production in such dryland areas? Unlike the cultivation of high yielding varieties in the irrigated lands and drylands, farming poses and different challenges, and conserving rainfall that the area receives is the first step. There are the several ways in which people can stop rainwater from the quickly and running off, so that it can be soaked into the ground and recharge the groundwater. This is done through the watershed development programs, which include the afforestation, bunding, building and check dam and tanks. Also, fertility of the soil needs to be raised by the adding organic material and compost and manure. So these are all the things are required here, where the 45% of India's land is unirrigated, which is like a drought prone. In such lands, in such regions, we should increase the water percentage. Is that so? We should prohibit the deforestation. We should prohibit the deforestation, and we should increase the forest rate, and we should construct the canals, dams, tanks. These are and under a conservative manner. So these are the facilities will become increasingly and high yield of the varieties, where we have to face the pulses rate is very less and needs are increasing and its rates are increasing. So towards of that, when we provide it in the high yield of variety, at the 10th it can be cultivable. Farmers who grow crops like the Bengal gram, red gram, bajra, jowar, ragi, soyabean, groundnut and cotton also need support. They may need new varieties of seeds suitable for the different regions. Knowledge about the best ways of the growing a mix of crops on the same land and loads of the purchase and inputs support the prices for these crops, etc. Farming of the high yield of the varieties has now been adopted in the dryland regions too. High yield of varieties are increased in all the regions too. The effects of the green revolution increase in the production, the spread of the high yielding of the varieties to the large parts of the country and to never crops has led to a significant increase in crop production in the country. India has become self-sufficient in the food grains. Now India has become self-sufficient in the food production and food productivity activities also. Due to the rise in the food grains production, it was no longer necessary to import food grains from the other countries. Today the food materials constitute only about 3% of India's import. Bar diagram, the production of food grains has increased 5 times over the last 5 decades. From the 1950-51 to 2014-15 is 253 million tons. A large stock of food grains has also built up with the government through Food Corporation of India that can be used in case of the shortage and can avoid drug for the famine like the situations in the country, the procurement of the food grains is also used to supply food grains to accessible areas. In the year 1967, the total food grain stock with the government was only 19 lakh tons. By the year 2010 and 11, it increased to 20 lakh tons, about 1/10 of the total food grain produced in India. Green Revolution helped the farmers to produce higher quantities of the food grains and non-food grains on the same plot of land. There was no major increase in the land used for the cultivation in the 1960s. A farmer was able to produce an average of only 287 kilograms of the food grains, be it paddy over wheat, on 1 acre of the cultivable land. Today, the same farmer is able to produce nearby 800 kilograms. Now, before, one farmer in the same land who used to produce 2 quintals 87 kilograms only in the previous times, but at present in the same land the farmer is producing 8 quintals, which is increased drastically under the Green Revolution. Kilograms of the food grains per acre of the cultivable land. Environmental effects. The Green Revolution has also brought several environmental imbalances. As mentioned earlier, it was first introduced in the northern state of the Punjab, Haryana and parts of Uttar Pradesh. We shall study some of the environmental problems faced by these areas, or which areas are faced the environmental problems. That we will continue in the next session of the online class. Thank you.